Hi there BookTube, this is Emma from Emma's Bookish Lifestyle, and today is part 3 of my December book haul. Yes, there's a part 3, there may even be a part 4 coming shortly, and I've decided that in 2017, apart from doing my Goodreads challenge, I'm also going to try and set myself some personal goals. So for 2017, I have decided that commencing January the 1st, I would like to take on board 10 to 12, depending on time span and work commitments, 10 to 12 new authors that are deemed as classic or modern classics in the literary fiction sort of genre, although I'm quite happy to go outside the boundaries of literary fiction. And so this is the reason for some of these books that I've purchased today. Some of these I've seen on other channels and thought they might be quite interesting, and some of these were just recommendations from other booktubers and through my Amazon. So first of all, we've got Red Sky at Sunrise. Now this is by Laurie Lee, and it includes 3 stories. So it's including Cider with Rosie, As I Walked Out One Midsummer Morning, and A Moment of War. And these are the 3 autobiography books by Laurie Lee, starting in her life in the Cotswolds, moving right the way through to the breakout of Civil War. So this is supposed to be phenomenal. It's a beautiful version. It's got lovely, reasonably sized writing, but it's also got beautiful illustrations inside, which I always love. Sometimes with stories, a more gothic looking illustration to kind of tide you through the story. It's another one, more traditional. But yes, so one of the first ones, there's 3 in the trilogy. Ideally, I'd like to start with Cider with Rosie. If I enjoy that, then I'll continue through. But as I say, it's dependent on time and work commitments. The second one is a book mentioned on Simon at Savage Reads channel. This is The Haunted Hotel. It's a vintage classic by Wilkie Collins, and it says on the back, an eminent doctor is visited by a desperate woman with a question: am I evil or insane? When an Italian servant stops sending letters to his wife in London, she is convinced he has been murdered. In the darkened bedroom of a mouldering palazzo by the Grand Canal, an English lord sickens and suddenly dies. How are these little mysteries connected? Spend the night in room 14 of Venice's finest hotel and find out the truth if you dare. Now, I used to love a good ghost story. I haven't read a good ghost story in years, so I'm really looking forward to this. Plus, Venice is on my hit list of European cities to visit, so I would really like to sort of read that book and see what the atmosphere is like in that. So this book, next book that I've got, has been inspired by none other than the marvellous Adam at Memento Mori. Now, he's been reading the full series this year of this particular author, and I've probably jumped in on the wrong book. However, if I enjoy this book, I'm really keen to get stuck into carrying on the books. Yeah, I think I've come in at the wrong starting point. I don't know quite where I've come in on the reading of this. So this book is Cormac McCarthy, and it's Blood Meridian. And I love this cover, although I'm very disgruntled with my chihuahuas at the moment because they managed to get hold of it and they've chewed the corner of the book. So if I love it, I'm going to have to treat myself to another copy because I'm a bit anal like that. But this won't go to waste, people. I will donate it to the charity shop. So this says at the back that Blood Meridian is an epic novel of the violence and depravity that attended America's westward expansion, brilliantly subverting the conventions of the Western novel and the mythology of the Wild West, based on historical events that took place on the Texas-Mexico border in the 1850s. It traces the fortunes of the kid, a 14-year-old Tennessean who stumbles into a nightmarish world where Indians are murdered and the market for their scalps is thriving. Now, when I was younger, and actually even now, to be fair, I still love a good Western film. I was a massive fan of the Magnificent Seven original set, and I'm looking forward to seeing the remake. I hope they haven't destroyed it too much with too much humour. But it was fabulous, and I always loved anything to do with Billy the Kid, the classic Paul Newman film, the films, oh, I can't even remember what they were called, Blaze of Glory, was it? Back in the 80s. So anything like that, anything to do with the Western era intrigues me. Not just because of the depravity of obviously the situation that people were working in, the transformative powers of the gold rush and how that affected people, and also how it affected the indigenous population of the Americas, obviously the Indian population. A lot of people forget about the indigenous populations of a lot of the countries that were overrun with white people from various European countries trying to control them. And that's something that interests me. So if you've got anything to do with the Indian indigenous people of the Americas, then please let me know down below, or any indigenous people from any country. I find that completely and utterly compelling, and I haven't read anywhere near enough, so I'd love some recommendations. And finally, this one was seen recently on Will's channel at Vintage, and this is American Pastoral by Philip Roth. Now this is a film coming out, film edition, unfortunately, from Ewan McGregor. I wasn't particularly happy that I got this cover. I mean, the cover is pretty striking, but it wasn't the cover that I wanted. I wanted the most recent covers that Vintage have done, which are kind of just a graphic letter with a bit of background, and the whole set are like that, which looked amazing. But unfortunately, when I went to Waterstones, the only version they had was this one. All the others were in that other format, but because of the film, nah. I'm not a lover of film tie-in covers. I understand and appreciate that it's to stand out to those people who might be intrigued to follow up the film with the book. I'm a traditionalist. I like to try and read the book before the film, although it's not always possible. And so, yes, so it says on the back here, Swede Levov is living the American dream. He glides through life sustained by his devoted family, his demanding yet highly rewarding and lucrative business, his sporting prowess, his good looks. He is the embodiment of thriving post-war America, land of liberty and hope, until the sunny day in 1968 when the Swede's bountiful American luck deserts him. The tragedy springs from devastatingly close to home. His adored daughter Mary has become a stranger to him, a fanatical teenager capable of an outlandishly savage act of political terrorism that plunges the Levov family into the political mayhem of 60s America and drags them into the underbelly of a seemingly ascendant society. Rendered powerless by the shocking turn of events, the Swede can only watch as his pastoral idyll is methodically torn apart. Now, obviously, with everything that's happened this year with America and everything that Will has said about Philip Roth, it had to be added to my list for next year. There's also, as is with Cormac McCarthy, a back catalogue of other books after this one which I can read. So if I really enjoy him, I can get more books in that genre. So thank you for listening and spending the time BookTube. It took a little bit longer than I was hoping. I was hoping to try and keep it under 7 minutes today. I'm trying to reduce the length of my videos so they're a bit easier for people to watch over the Christmas period. If you've got any comments or any book recommendations based on those, or based on some of the authors that I should maybe try and read in 2017 to expand my reading experience, please feel free to recommend in the doobly-doo down below. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, but this is not a lot, you know, this is not an obligation, and I'd love any feedback that you might have on the content of this video. So I look forward to speaking to you soon, and happy reading, BookTube. Take care. Bye.